Flutterflow, point two front ends to the same backend, allows fixing bugs for prod while developing new features for your V2. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this screen, which is the entrance into Flutterflow. It shows multiple projects as you're creating new projects. But what interested me, why I was so curious about this, is that there's an option here where you can duplicate a project. So what I actually did here is I created a backup of vitamins, which is my supplement tracker, and I created another backup. So basically, what you can do here is you can, and this is why it's interesting, you can have multiple front ends all pointing to the same back end. Now, as long as you're not requiring wild changes in the back end, this should work. And it's interesting because it allows you to work on the next version of your app in complete safety and isolation, apart from the back end, which is shared, while you deployed your first production version. It creates a great workflow in my opinion, and I think it's something to explore. I found this idea so intriguing that I decided to verify it by talking to a Flutterflow staff and ask the question specifically. So I have a question about, this is the email I wrote to them. I have a question about ongoing enhancements to my app, specifically working on V2 while getting V1 tested in test flight. I would like to add features without disturbing my test flight or release date for the core features of V1. This is actually a really important deal, because any kind of production deployment should have an ability to develop in isolation and in peace and without pressure, fixing bugs and developing new features while you're deployed already in production. So I think this is a really big deal. So, and the email goes on, I noticed I can easily clone Flutterflow projects. Can I simply clone my vitamins project and create vitamins V2 connected to the same Firestore backend project and have the Firestore files deployed exactly the same way as the first time for V1? Can I now have these two Flutterflow projects, vitamins 1 and 2, these two front ends, point to the same Firestore backend and console? Would this allow me to work in parallel on my V2 without disturbing my original code base for V1 in any way? Please let me know if this should work. And they responded, and thankfully I got the answer that I was hoping to get. So the response came back, yes, you should be able to do that, but please be aware that you might experience some issues due to the conflicting Firestore rules and indexes, or while deploying the cloud functions for any service integrated in Flutterflow. This implementation is feasible, but you'll need to take care of these factors. So this makes a lot of sense. Obviously, you cannot have a backend that you cannot have two front ends which require totally different behavior from the backend, or you have to do certain tricks. Like one thing that we can do, for example, is duplicate tables, one for the new version, one for the old version, but there are various other things that can be done. But this workflow seems feasible. I have to test it out and let you guys know how it goes, because it's a really safe, it provides a really safe path for developing newer versions of the app, for upgrading the versions of the app, and have a long-term growth path for the application.